Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of Aspire IQ's Community and Coffee. If this is your first time viewing an episode, Community and Coffee is a series of conversations on the hottest topics in social media and marketing, ranging from how to build community in an online world to strategies for leveraging social media to drive e-commerce traffic. Every episode is hosted by a member of our marketing strategy team, either myself, my name is Madison Smith, Anna Gustorf, who's hosting with me today, or Magda Huala, and features different guests across our Aspire IQ teams, depending on the episode topic. So if you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, please join our Slack community. It's called The Coffee Shop, and I'll go ahead and include a link below so you can easily find it. We're joined today by a member of our customer experience team, Senior Campaign Success Manager, Lucy Smith, who works one-on-one with tons of brands across different industries, assisting with campaign creation, recommending influencers and community strategies, and educating our brands on the latest trends in social media and digital marketing. So, what better topic to discuss today than trends we hope to stay in 2020? I think I speak for everyone here when I say I am pretty exhausted by 2020 in general, but there are definitely some trends that come about this year that we're hoping don't follow us on social media in 2021. Pun intended there. For me, I would love for the media and for brands to stop doubting the power of influencers. During COVID, especially, we saw so many headlines from journalists and different media outlets saying things like, is this the end of the influencer? Has the coronavirus killed influencer culture? In actuality, it only emphasized the importance of influencers. When brands needed to make quick marketing campaign and content pivots and couldn't get in their photo studios due to shelter in place, couldn't arrange these huge photo shoots and hire models because of quarantine guidelines and travel restrictions, they relied on the brand communities that they've created. They had to turn to influencers who have the content creation skills on par with the photographers they were used to hiring. Influencers this year churned out hundreds of pieces of content, all from within their own homes. When moments like Black Lives Matter and conversations about sustainability were at all-time highs this year, influencers were the people brands turned to give feedback and opinions on how that brand was performing from a social perspective. And they took those diverse voices and they amplified them. They made internal changes within their organizations and acknowledged where they were lacking. So for me, I'd like to see more brands leaning into the content influencers produce, as it's basically become an essential for maintaining businesses now and will do so post-pandemic. Lucy, why don't you go next? What are the trends that you hope to stay in 2020?
Trends that should be staying in 2020 is definitely social media being responsible for spreading fake news. I think this goes for everyone, regardless of your political, your religious, or your personal beliefs. In our day and age, people are no longer just turning to social media for updates on friends, celebrities, families. It's now also an outlet for us to spread and consume information. Between COVID and the 2020 election, social platforms have become such a hub for news, and there's this increase in uncertainty of what news can and cannot be trusted. And this is a slippery slope for everyone. I think there are really two main factors here of what we can do to ensure that on social media, we're not contributing to the spread of this misinformation. So first is definitely recognizing your influence. Everyone on social media is influential. You do not need to be an influencer, a brand, or a celebrity to be able to influence the people that follow you. It can be someone every day, like you and me, who has the ability to influence, and more specifically, the responsibility to promote facts and provide resources for individuals to make their own decisions. So it's important to understand that you don't need to be an influencer to have a positive or negative impact with your platform. So we really should choose wisely with what we are promoting. Second to that would be, now that we know we're influential, how can we get informed and find our own truth so we can be spreading what we believe as truth and facts accordingly? So in this case, I would definitely recommend, let's follow news outlets you trust, nonprofits you're passionate about, activist groups that fight for topics that you believe in. And let's keep it real here. Like, ultimately everything will have a slight bias, so that's why researching is so important, so you can determine your own conclusions based on your own values, and be sure not to confuse other people's opinions on social media with your own truths. And lastly, how do we actually do that, right? So just spreading good resources. Before this, I wanted to make sure I had some resources to share with everyone. And a great resource was through Middlebury Libraries. They have a website called Pundit Fact, which specifically is dedicated to checking your typical outlets like political analysts, hosts of talk shows, bloggers, but more specifically, social media as well. So this is going to include your Instagram posts, tweets, Facebook posts, TV shows, and more. So my big takeaway here is be informed, get informed, and spread what matters to you in the form of facts and truth.
And I think you can tack onto that, having these social media platforms, holding them accountable for this information that's being spread online. I mean, I know that we do see that with Instagram now. It still puts up that little bar that says, learn more about this. So definitely seeing more platforms do that, I think, is super important.
I think this kind of goes along with making sure that not only people are more conscious about what they're putting out there, but brands as well. So my, biggest thing that I want to say in 2020 are these, really tone deaf responses from the brand. So, I don't have to remind all of us that we've been through a lot in 2020, from starting with wildfires, which seems like years ago, to, well, more wildfires, but to a global pandemic, to really impactful and huge social issues being discussed. At the core of it, it really was this incredible opportunity for brands to show that although, they really are this inhuman entity, they are made up of humans. So, kind of getting into some examples, specifically speaking to COVID, some bad examples of what we saw as a response is brands that were a little bit too quick to have a humorous response. So I know that although it was this incredibly heavy time, and we were really looking towards social media and towards brands that we love to give us that light and that happiness, we saw some brands that reacted in ways that were meant to be humorous, but just fell on deaf ears and really weren't appropriate. And one that I saw was this alcohol delivery service that said, well, now that bars are closed, the good news is that we deliver. And that the tricky thing about that is it really was this horrible response that had no empathy towards all those people who lost their jobs, bartenders, people that work at restaurants, and people really reacted to that instantly. So on the other side of it, we saw these really positive and impactful responses from brands, specifically a gin company. Pretty early on in the pandemic, they said that they were donating a pretty significant portion of their sales to the Bartenders Guild, which directly helps bartenders that are out of business and help to pay them during this time. They actually moved on to donate 100% of their proceeds for a few months. So it kind of shows you the difference between a brand that was in that space but kind of made light of it, and then another brand that is also in that space that really took an opportunity to support those that are most important to them, which is bartenders and people who work at restaurants, and really show their support there. So moving on to, the Black Lives Matter movement coming up back into the news and the reemergence of really having these impactful social conversations. This was another opportunity for brands to, make sure that they were making statements about this and really showing how they were supporting this movement within their own organization. So starting with some good examples, so brands that really jumped on making statements, but also backed it up with things like putting anti-racism resources on their website, also a place to donate, and then themselves making large donations to these organizations. So they were really backing up their words with that they're supporting this movement and they're making valuable changes within the organization with providing resources to people who visit the website and dedicating valuable real estate on their website to these organizations. So on the other side of it, there were definitely a lot of brands that stumbled during this time that really, were quick to make statements, but then people were upset and commenting on those posts saying, well, what are you doing to back that up? We still see, within this large organization, there are we've seen racist activity and, really a lot of not great things. And so people were upset by just brands that felt like they were jumping on it, but it was kind of these empty promises and these empty statements. But what we really saw as kind of some best practices was when something like this happens, make sure that brands are quick but thoughtful with their response. So take some time to really think within your organization of what would be an impactful response and make sure you're backing that up with something you're doing. So the second thing is making it a priority to really say how you are making valuable changes within your organization. If it is a social issue, if it is a global pandemic, hopefully again, this will never happen again, but if you need to make changes within your organization for health reasons, whatever it may be, make sure that you're backing it up and it's not just an empty promise. Along with that, taking the time to really see how you can donate, whether that be time or a monetary donation or your own products for free. That definitely shows to not only people outside of your organization that you are a brand really dedicated to making the world a better place, but of course your own employees that you are dedicated to contributing in a positive way. Again, I hope that this is the end to some, really big tone deaf responses. And in 2021, we really learned from our mistakes. And, as brands, we're really making sure that we're supporting not only our consumers, but our employees as well.
Yeah, I think that from what all of us have said, one of the biggest things we really hope to stay in 2020 is just not doing your homework and just not being somebody who just gets on a bandwagon, making sure that you're not just showing, you're actually doing. On a more positive note, a lot of great things also came out of 2020, which is kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but in terms of trends that we would hope to move into 2021, I know we talked about it a little bit. For me, I think that my biggest hope for 2021 is continuing to focus on nano influencers, where you're really focusing on your true brand fans, your communities that you've been able to build around your brand. And a lot of times those are people with smaller followings, utilizing those types of people that still create high quality content, but may not have 500,000 followers. I hope that in 2021, brands stop relying solely on follower count. We all know that it's so easy to fake. I hope that brands dive into people that are creating great content for their brands, that are educating about their brands. What do you guys think?
I think that's actually the perfect segue to talk about the trend I'd like to see continue past 2020, which is TikTok, and kind of how they're redefining a new wave of influencer and influential. So to your point, anyone on TikTok can be optimized for the For You page, and follower count does not necessarily determine how many eyeballs will actually see the content you're creating. And this is really what's differentiating TikTok as a social media platform and what's causing it to grow so quickly. So although TikTok did start in 2016, we're really seeing it boom this year with roughly 80 million active users in the US alone per month. Some of these reasons are probably obvious, but we're spending more time at home. We're more eager to learn about this new app and consume the content that it's producing. You don't need to actually sign up for the app to start watching the videos too. So it's a really good way to start hooking people onto the app itself. And then lastly, the Creator TikTok Fund is a phenomenal way that TikTok as a social media platform is paving the way and taking ownership that strong content creators deserve to be paid for the time and effort that's being put into the content they're creating. We've never seen anything really like this before. So it's remarkable to see how they are encouraging the content development side of the platform rather than the user side of the platform. So what really makes TikTok so different? I would probably pin it down to their algorithm. So in terms of how that's changed, really anyone can now become influential on TikTok. It doesn't necessarily weigh your follower count. It's all about the quality of the content you're creating. And it truly can take just one viral TikTok for you to be the next social media star. Compared to like an Instagram or a YouTube, this can take years of constantly creating content before you're actually gaining enough traction on social media to get a branded partnership or to get some ad revenue to actually be able to pay your bills. So that's where TikTok really differentiates itself in the ability for you to become influential with just one simple viral video.
Anna, how about you? What do you think should continue on into 2021?
Well, first of all, I hope that I will be selected as the next TikTok star, but Lucy, we can talk offline later on how to make that happen. But something that we really saw rise up in 2020 that didn't necessarily start in 2020, but has definitely progressed significantly is social shopping. So the emergence of these social channels providing these shopping features to consumers and brands alike. So if you want a little bit of a deeper dive, just to give a little plug to our YouTube channel, you can find our previous Community and Coffee on social selling. So we go into all the different social platforms and kind of what they offer and our initial thoughts on that. But even since then, we've had some new and exciting things come up. But taking kind of a step back, a reason why I was so excited to see this rise of commerce within social media channels was it really creates its own purchase funnel. So before, you had all these different channels that you could potentially find consumers on. You would do digital ads, out of home, doing on your own, organic social media. But where it kind of progressed into was you always wanted to drive them to your site, and then from people on your site, maybe a quarter of them you could capture their email, and then of that quarter that you captured, you email them and retarget them and send them offers or links to specific products. And then from that small group, an even smaller group maybe clicks back to your website and looks around, and then an even smaller group from that maybe makes that final purchase. So why that is kind of turning it on its head is that within social media, brands are really growing these highly engaged and prosperous communities. And within the app, they can retarget them with ads, they can post things and engage them within their just organic social. They can reach out to them directly within the app and send them offers. And then at the core of it too, now they can put direct links to either click out to the website for products that they post on organic social, or even influencers can post and have tags that are clickable out to the website. And then now, most recently, within some social media channels, you actually have a checkout feature, so you can do it all within the own app. So I think what really excited me with that is, like I said, it really just transforms what your purchase funnel could look like. And really, I'm excited to see that a lot of brands are investing a lot more time and energy and budget into making sure that their organic social channels are efficient, putting more spend behind social ads, and really completing that purchase journey for potential consumers. And, just at the end of the day, I think it was I said this in our other community coffee that we were talking about this, but it really was social media's response to people becoming these omni-channel shoppers. So even before this pandemic, and where we all were driven to online and all driven to spend more time on social media, there really was this shift of people, shopping more online and not necessarily in store. But now more than ever, there really has been this major shift. And so I think the timing is impeccable for these social channels, that they're investing in these tools that allow consumers to search for new brands, search for new products, and purchase directly within the app. So I'm just excited to continue to see this grow and shape. And I think even, talking about going into the holidays, or even into next year, if this still kind of looks the same, hopefully not, there still will be that craving from consumers to have that really engaging experience of shopping in stores and talking to people and asking questions to salespeople, and being able to touch things and see how, trying them on. So I think with these social selling features, now with these social selling features, consumers are able to see them in different scenarios, whether it be on different influencers that they like, or let's say on Instagram, IGTV has now shoppable features. So you can see things being interacted with in real time. You can ask questions in real time, and it really creates that full immersive shopping experience that I think we're really craving. And moving forward, like I said, I'm really excited to see brands really lean into this. And I'm excited to see what other social platforms offer features like this, because I know there are a few right now. Most are kind of slowly rolling out, but I'm really excited to see how many more will jump on this and create these new and exciting features for people to be able to shop within the app that they're already there every day. I know myself, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, definitely purchased from ads that I saw on social media. So even as someone that is in the social media world every day, it fools me, and I purchase things too. So I'm excited to see this and how it's going to grow and change in 2021. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for joining. For any questions or suggestions for future topics, please join us on our community Slack channel, and I will leave a link down here again. Our Slack channel is called The Coffee Shop, and make sure to check back on our YouTube page for more videos on future topics, and we'll see you next time.